All right, friends, it's time to give you loyal listeners a discount on protein powder. You may or may not know, but I launched my very first protein powder 2 years ago. It's a grass-fed beef isolate with only 3 ingredients: grass-fed beef, either organic cacao or organic vanilla, and organic monk fruit. Now, if you don't want any of the added flavor and sweeteners, you can also just get unflavored. And no matter what flavor you choose, you're getting over 23 grams of protein per scoop, which is going to keep you full and satisfied between meals. I love starting my day with a Fab4 smoothie and breaking my fast with that much protein. It makes a serious difference in my cravings and blood sugar balance the rest of the day, and I've seen it with my clients as well. Now, I never thought I'd own a product company, but when I got pregnant with Sebastian, I realized the majority of protein powders were chemically extracted or enzymatically extracted, and I wanted to use heat and water only. I wanted minimal ingredients because we don't need those emulsifiers, fillers, or added vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. All of those additions increase the chances that it's not going to work for your body, whether it be bloating, digestion issues. I just wanted pure, clean protein to keep you full and satisfied so you could build the most delicious Fab4 smoothie. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of the flavor. If you take a look at our reviews on Amazon, you'll see 5-star reviews for flavor. And that is key, because if you don't love your Fab4 smoothie and you don't love drinking your protein powder, you're not going to do it. It won't become a habit, and it's consistency that outpaces everything. So if you're here and you're listening and you want to give our protein powder a try, use the code PODCAST5 for $5 off your order. And let me know if you love it. My favorite ways to apply this protein powder is in my Fab4 smoothie, making freezer fudge, making chocolate milk, making hot chocolate, and throwing the unflavored into all my kids' baked goods. So let me know how you use it. Let me know if you love it, and share this podcast deal with your friends. We are back in studio with one of my favorite people on the planet, a little Aussie named Simone De La Rue. She's here. She's pregnant. She's about to pop in how many days?
8 days, supposedly.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
If you guys have been following along, Simone launched a workout app, and invited me to be a part of the app in providing nutrition to every one of her clients who downloads the app. And it's been such an amazing journey, and we become really close friends because of it. And then we both found out we were pregnant in the same year, and she has a little boy on the way. And obviously you guys know Bash is here. So we have so much to talk about. But first, I just want to introduce you to Simone. I want you to get to know Simone the way that I have, because I think she's just a light and a special motivating woman, female entrepreneur who's really out there to support women to get active and to be healthy. So Simone, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's so exciting to be here.
I know, you're on the precipice of a total life change.
I'm driving here, and I've got the, the car seat in the back now, but I'm like, it's still empty, but not for long.
Yeah. We're waiting till Mark gets back from a business trip.
Yeah, exactly. And then I can be like, hey, let's go.
And then you can tell your body and baby, okay, time to come.
Exactly.
It's so exciting. Well, let's start in the beginning. How did Body by Simone come about? Why don't you give us a little bit, and the listeners a little bit of background on you and your life, and how you started one of the most amazing, if not the most amazing worldwide now in London. International.
Nearly killed me, but
dance studios out there.
So I've had Body by Simone for 8 years. The name originated when I was looking through a magazine and I saw, makeup by so-and-so, or hair by so-and-so, or stylist by so-and-so. I thought, I wonder who's helped, train that actor or actress or model, for that specific role or for that photo shoot. And I thought, that's a great name for a business, Body by, and then Simone. So that's how the name originated. But I was a professional dancer for 18 years, grew up in Australia and did shows in Australia. And then I went to London, did shows in the West End. And then I came to America because I always wanted to do Broadway. So I did shows on Broadway. And then I had one of those like aha moments. I was sitting in the dressing room, and people would talk. The show was coming to an end, and all the dancers in the change room were talking about the next audition. And I just thought, I have had enough of this. Wanted to take control back of my life. I wanted to be in charge of my own destiny. I wanted some more security and stability. And at that point, I was 36, which is quite old for a dancer. I hate to say that, but it is. And you were competing against, 16-year-olds straight out of college. So I wanted to do more. I wanted a change in career. And it's kind of the rite of passage for dancers to do something in fitness because we are so aware of our bodies, so in touch with our bodies, so in tune with our bodies. So it just really made sense for me to do that. Also, to be a dancer, you have to train in all forms and all styles of fitness, from yoga to Pilates to martial arts to strength work in the gym to classical ballet, to all these different styles. So I was already armed with a lot of knowledge because I danced since the age of 3, and it was just, this is my tool. This is what I know how to do. But I wanted to be able to then share that with people, all the knowledge that I'd had over the years, but also there's something really special about dance. It requires your entire body. And it's creative and spiritual and it's an outlet. And I think so many people are intimidated by the word dance because they think, oh, I can't dance. I can't, got 2 left feet. And that's not true because it's like you can learn a skill, but also too, it's just about moving. And so I wanted to, all of that mixed in, I wanted to try and find a way that I could, share that love of dance with people.
I love that you've made it so approachable. I think for me specifically, growing up as a soccer player,
Yeah.
and when I think about,
I can't imagine you doing that.
I know. Well, it's really
You're so dainty. I can't imagine that.
I also used to drive a very big lifted Ford F-150 with 35-inch mud tires.
No.
Yeah, and ride a skateboard to class in college. But yeah, I'm a little bit of a weirdo, but
I like
lots
it.
of different facets. But it's interesting because when I was in junior high, I danced. Like I would take jazz classes, and then I was going into high school, and my mom said, you have to make a decision. What sport are you're going to play soccer? Are you going to run? Are you going to swim? Are you going to dance? And I loved soccer, so I stayed with soccer. And then any other time that I ever danced was like at a school dance, or like with my girlfriend's dance party style. But to go into a class where something was choreographed, because I think when dancers have those choreographed moves, and they're used to going into a class and learning a routine in 2 minutes and then dancing in front of a group of people, that was really intimidating for me. But I will say, going to the Body by Simone studio here in Brentwood, I'm not intimidated because everyone's there to have a good time. And there are so many different levels of dancers. And when Emmy's in the class and she's rocking her moves just like the teacher, I don't need to dance like that, but
hard to compete with her. But she's motivating though.
But it's really motivating, and everyone's there to have a good time. So I think you're known for making dance approachable, and it feels like fun. It feels like when I used to dance with my little sisters in front of the mirror growing up. At home, like when we would just throw on NSYNC or BB Mac. Am I throwing into throwbacks, right? But it's fun, and that keeps people consistent. When you talk about staying healthy or taking care of yourself, it has to be something that gets you to go every time. And if it's miserable and you're dreading it and you don't want to go, that's where we see clients fall off and stop doing the work it takes to get the results. Yeah.
And I think especially for women, like, I'm not fond of running or cycling so like to try and find a form of cardio that's enjoyable is challenging. There's a lot of fabulous yoga classes and Pilates classes out there, but really to get the heart rate up and take care of the heart health, as well as if you are looking to drop weight, you do have to increase your cardio. So it's just trying to find ways that were fun, enjoyable for women, to do that as well, and then still get great results.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see the results from Jen Garner getting ready for Peppermint Movie. I mean, remember what I gave her the food plan, but when I would go and she had those workouts with you and we would measure her, it's amazing. Because she already had a phenomenal body. Yeah. But you kick it up a notch and you see the results. Yeah. So people can work out at your studios in LA, in New York, in London.
Yes.
So, and if they're not near a studio, the app.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're making this available to everyone out there. You're 8 days away from giving birth, or right?
Yeah.
And hopefully around your due date.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, not too far after.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been working out this entire time. Walk us through like how you've taken care of yourself throughout your pregnancy and stayed active, and like maybe what's changed or how you've stayed motivated. Because I remember towards the end there, just feeling like I have feet in my ribs and I have to pee every 10 minutes. What's happening? But I'd love to hear like your journey personally and how you've taken care of yourself.
Yeah. So my partner and I, Mark, we've been, trying for a child for like over 2 years. And I was 43 when I conceived. So the hysterical thing is when you go to the doctor, anything over 35 is considered a geriatric pregnancy.
Oh, I had a geriatric pregnancy.
Which I'm like, we need to change that name because it sounds like such a negative thing, So I was 43 and I was terrified because I was so scared about losing, the baby. Yeah. And so the first 3 months was the longest 3 months because I couldn't tell anybody. And I was trying to still work and trying to still work out and, keep it together, but still on the inside, just praying that, everything, would keep and stay. So that was really challenging the first 3 months. But once I got through that, I, started to do some research on what's out there for women, to do for exercise. And so I've had every book, beside my bedside table, there's 10 books lined up. And of course, what to expect when you're expecting, all of the classics. And, the exercises that they're recommending for women is to walk or just,
roll.
Yeah, just to stretch, to do a wall sit. I was like, that's great for people who haven't been active. But for people like me who've danced my whole life and been active my whole life, I need to do more than that. So that really prompted me to further my studies. And so then I did some pre and postnatal specialist training to make sure that I knew exactly what exercises was safe. And then I thought, right, I'm actually going to take this opportunity or this platform, especially on my Instagram, to show exercises for women that are safe and that you can do and you can literally do to the day, your water breaks, which is what I plan on doing.
Right.
And there's really not a lot out there, so I really wanted to try and, be a positive role model. But for me, it was a mixture of mental. It was my therapy. It was my time for myself. It made me feel great. And then also there's so many benefits now, so I've got a fabulous OB called Dr. Jason Rothbart. And he was, when I made the DVD series, the prenatal series, he came and filmed the intro and said, everything that Simone is doing is absolutely safe. And we went into all the benefits of helping, early onset diabetes. Obviously, when your heart rate is pumping, then the baby's heart rate is pumping. So they're working harder, which means that they're going to build strength. Yeah. So, I could go into so many benefits, but it was just really great also to have his stamp of approval. So I think next week, actually, I'm supposed to be launching. I'm like, which week is that? Yeah. Is the Baby by Simone prenatal series. So it's like 6 20-minute workouts that are full body workouts that you can do, 3 in a row, or you could do 1, or just depending on how you feel. But it's focusing on like TVA breathing, which is the transverse abdominis muscles, and then working on strengthening the pelvic floor, as well as doing, upper body, because I'm hopefully about to breastfeed. So all the, different postural things, and then strengthening the lower body to help with labor. Yeah, I'm really excited about that coming out. And I know I've had a really lot of positive feedback from a lot of women saying, thank you so much, because there's been nothing and no one's told me what to do and I didn't know. So that's been really great for me personally, because I wanted to keep in shape. And I've only put on, I think, like 27 pounds, which, I'm really happy with, considering I could have gone crazy and had ice cream and pizza and whatever. So I'm really, happy with that amount, but I know it's because I exercised as well. So I feel like getting my, not getting my body back, I don't want to say that, but the body that I'm going to have afterwards, it's going to be a lot easier to be healthier and fitter and, get back in shape, because I've exercised throughout the whole pregnancy.
I completely agree with you. I think what's so interesting too is you're touching on staying active throughout your pregnancy and how important that is. And it is so important because when you are pregnant, you're hormonally insulin resistant. So all of the carbohydrates and sugar that you're eating that's, would normally go to your liver and your muscles is now being redirected to your baby, and your muscles aren't doing a very good job of sucking up the excess. So then that's when people easily pack on the pounds, and then they're not feeling so great in the beginning, or they're nervous or whatever, and carbs sound good. So they're upping their carbs. They taste amazing when you're pregnant. Like, you're upping that carbohydrate intake without understanding that there's all these little reservoirs. It's like your liver and your muscles and the baby. And I was about the same as you, under 30, gained under 30 pounds. It's work. It's staying committed for 10 months to your exercise, to eating clean. And trust me, I mean, I'm sure you have those cravings, and we'll talk about those times when you're like, yeah, I definitely had X, Y, or Z. But remembering that your baby's being built out of all of the things that you're eating too is so, so important, because that's their first shot at life, and I mean, you want to be realistic and say no one's ever going to be perfect, but the bounce back from that and how much easier it is on your joints now walking around. I mean,
touch wood, I haven't really had back pain, which has been so great, because I've been working on my posture as well, obviously, and holding him, holding him right. But I think that it's a lot to do with it as well, because I've been active and not carrying as much weight as I could have.
And if you get out of alignment and you're not working out too, that pain can really start to set in. So I know that you'll bounce back really, really easily, because you've done this in a really, really, really healthy manner. But not only that, all those workouts that you're talking about, even if someone sits down and does 20 minutes, not all 3 of the videos and the 60 minutes, they're burning up that sugar. They're increasing the insulin sensitivity of their muscles to suck sugar out of their bloodstream. And that's great for gestational diabetes. It's great for, energy in your muscles and staying and keeping that muscle mass or that metabolism there. So when you do give birth, you do have energy, because it's a doozy.
I know.
Well, that's a full workout. Like, if you didn't work out for 10 months and then, I had almost 30 hours of labor. So you won't have that. You won't have that. But, it's a long time, and no one tells you. I mean, they tell you, but I think it's really active. And you want to be able to have full lung capacity and the cardio that you are doing and the weights that you are doing. It's phenomenal for that.
Because when you think about it, you wouldn't run a marathon and not train. So I think giving birth is like running a marathon. So you have to be physically fit to give birth.
Absolutely
you don't have to, but I mean, obviously it's going to really help. So
it's definitely going to pay off for you. I know it is.
I'm hoping it's going to be a quick labor, but cut to me saying 3 days in labor.
No, I feel like I'm going to get the call or the text. It's like, I was walking to the studio 2 days after my due date. My water broke, and 2 hours later, he was here. Here he is.
That's what I'm visualizing. I'm visualizing it.
I love it. Well, so what are your plans for when baby boy is here? And do you have names? Are you sharing? Are you sharing?
That's one thing we're keeping secret. Yeah, we're keeping that secret, but we've agreed on a name, which is nice. And we've had that for a while. So I'm kind of talking to him, already, with his name.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what I'm in for. And I think, I'm a workaholic. I'm trying to balance 4 studios now and like over 50 staff. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. And as grateful as I am and so pleased and happy that I created London, the timing was insane. It's like, I was 8 months pregnant when it launched. And I kept saying to the contractors, you have to finish this build because I have to get on a plane to get back because I'm not allowed to travel soon, know? So there's so much pressure on me for that. So in some ways I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy, but I'll be home. And I haven't actually taken, 4 weeks or 6 weeks off ever. So I know it's going to be a different kind of challenge, but I'll be home. So that will be nice. I'll be sleep deprived, which I'm not very good without sleep. So cut to me probably crying, crying every hour. And then I'll be like, no, just send me back to London. That's easier. Build another studio.
I mean, it is true. I think that was my biggest fear going into it was I can pretty much handle anything, and I'm pretty even keel, and I don't get stressed out too easily, and I always say yes, and I figure out how to get it done. And entrepreneurs, right? You're hustling, and you're one foot's in one place, one foot's in the other, and your hands are in different things. But when it comes to sleep, I remember one time my husband snored really bad for a while. He's getting his tonsils out. That's a totally different story. But I remember waking up and I'm in tears, and he's like, I've never seen you cry. I'm like, I haven't been sleeping for the last 2 hours. It's 2 a.m. What's happening?
And you're fast asleep because I can hear you snoring.
Yeah. So I remember having those same fears. And I will say it's getting up for the small human that you've made in your human body for almost 10 months is a completely different thing. And if you're sleeping when you can sleep, and everyone sleep when the baby sleeps. Yeah. I mean,
is that true? Because I was like, maybe I'll try that.
Honestly, I was never a napper. Like, I'm not good at napping. When people in college used to nap and say, I'm going to go back to the dorm for an hour and get a nap, I'm like, I'm going to go walk around and say hi to people and, get some work done. Or whatever. That was always really something I could never do. And I didn't really ever get good at it when he was born either. And I have friends who are like, you just got to get into it. But it's hard for me because I'm the person who will fall asleep and then 3 hours later wake up and feel like it's a different day or I'm in a different time zone. Yeah. So, I mean, I just slept at night when he slept and, wake up 3 times a night, 4 times a night sometimes. But I think what's interesting is if you get into like the sleep, and I'll give you some resources for that. And I'm going to actually have a sleep consultant come on the podcast, but there are some really awesome tips, and babies want to sleep. Like they can get into sleep if you can get them scheduled. So don't worry too much about it. It's such a short amount of time and they cry, and then you pick them up and you're like, you want to be there. Yeah. You want to snuggle and you want to cuddle and just see their little face. And some of those moments, especially after what we went through, but like some of the moments when he would wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and I would just get to like pick him up and feed him and like look at his little features. Like, there's nothing like it. So, and it's even now looking at him almost 5 months, I'm sad looking at pictures when he's like 6 weeks old. Yeah. Cause you're like, oh, I can't get that back. And like, oh, they grow up so fast. Yeah. So I digress. Yeah. You're going to be fine. What have you been doing in regards to like food throughout your pregnancy? And like, what do you have planned for those weeks after? Like, is your mom coming into town? I know she's probably over the moon and excited.
Beside herself, yeah. She's actually here already. So yeah. Just like, what is it now? Is it today? I'm like, no, Mom, no more pressure.
That's actually smart since Mark has gone for work.
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's like, I need someone to take me to the hospital. It was interesting. I guess I knew I was having a boy because I didn't really get morning sickness. So touch wood, not one day of morning sickness, which was such a blessing, which enabled me to exercise and work. Yeah. I didn't really have, or haven't really had any crazy cravings. I've never been a carb person before. I was always really, really heavy protein. So if anything, that's one thing that I've noticed that I've maybe craved, is carbohydrate, like and weird things that I'm probably want to eat a lot of apples, and croissants was the thing as well. But other than that, it wasn't anything, bizarre. And then it was just probably slightly increasing my calories, slightly increasing my food servings, and just making sure, like when I used to exercise, I used to do intermittent fasting. Yeah. I wouldn't have breakfast before a 6 a.m. workout. I changed that pattern. So I made sure that I was eating a little bit more regularly, making sure that I was always having breakfast before I worked out. Yeah, so I was probably just increasing the food serving sizes, the quantity of time. But I ate very clean and pretty much ate my usual diet. It's just if I would normally have chili, then I made sure that I add rice. Or if I would, have, chicken and vegetables, I'd make sure there was like a good healthy carb in there. But in general, I've been really lucky. I haven't had crazy cravings, or I haven't really indulged that much.
Well, I think too, being as active as you've been and eating as clean as you have, when you go into a pregnancy, it depends. The morning sickness thing, when someone is dealing with that severely, it's really hard to control those cravings. It's really hard for them to eat clean. I mean, we're talking like toast and crackers, and come back and talk to me at week 12 or 14 when this sort of subsides, and we'll have we'll redirect the plan to clean it up. But I will say the consistency of your eating and the fact that you were a lover of protein, that's so great for keeping your blood sugar balance and keeping you satisfied and have that energy so that you're not having those dips in blood sugar that really actually cause people to have worse nausea and morning sickness.
Right.
So you were supporting that the whole way through. What's the plan for post?
After? Well, touch wood, I'm really hoping to breastfeed.
Yeah.
I thought my boobies would be bigger. It's like, I mean, they're big for me because they used to just be nipples, but I just thought they would be bigger. But perhaps I guess when the milk comes in,
they will. Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy because I think I'm like an A cup normally. And then I got pregnant and I'm like B+.
Yeah.
and then my milk came in like a week after Bash was born. And I was like, I don't want this Pamela Anderson movie. What's happening?
But I might enjoy that for a week or two, I think. Yeah.
Chris is like, you breastfeed forever. Like,
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Because normally I think I'm a double A or something really, really sad. So I was like really excited. That was one of the first things that I noticed in my body. You know, I was like, oh, my boobs are big. That I must be pregnant. So the plan, I guess, is to breastfeed. So then I have to keep up the calories and keep up the food intake. Yeah. And I have to practice what I preach to all of my clients of no exercise, before 6 weeks so that everything internally and all of your organs and your obviously abdominal wall have time to heal. I think that's going to be extremely challenging for me because I have never not exercised for 6 weeks ever in my life, ever. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how I cope with that.
Do your arms stretch?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I guess I can still, walk and everything, but it'll just be a bit of a challenge. But at the same time, I'm sure it's probably the least of my concerns or, worries at that point. So I think the main thing is I just want to try and fuel my body so that I can breastfeed. Touch wood, if that doesn't work out, then I'll just deal with, the situation at the time. But I think I'm not going to focus on, trying to drop weight really quickly.
No, I don't think you should because with the amount that you've gained, like naturally is just going to be eaten away by breastfeeding and regular like life. Yeah. Which is really, it's the hardest to stay consistent and eat clean and try to, remotivate yourself and check back in with yourself throughout a 10-month pregnancy, but that's almost a year long of a process. And so it's way worse when I sit down with clients and like, I got 60, I got 80, I have 95 pounds to lose. You don't want to even be thinking about that when you have a brand new baby. Yeah. You want to be spending time with your child. And I mean, all the things that come with that, like, is this normal? Is that normal? You're texting your friends at 3 a.m. Life changes so quickly. And I feel for the women that I start working with post-pregnancy that come to me post-baby because it's just, I don't want them to even have to think about it. Yeah. And so you don't need to worry about it.
Well, I think, with you and I, obviously what we do and, how we help women and we're the guides and they're the ones that they look to, I feel like we have to have our shit together because it's like, who's going to believe someone that, doesn't have their shit together basically. So I just want to make sure that.
Walk the walk.
Yeah. To walk the walk. But at the same time, I always say to every client, it took you 9 months to put the weight on. It should take you 9 months to take it off. Yeah. There's so many things that you see on social media about, body shaming and mum shaming and things like that. And I just think that women need to be kinder to one another, and every pregnancy is different. Every body is different. And I think it's really important that you go at your own pace. Genetics play such a huge thing into this. I've had so many people say, well, you don't look like you've got stretch marks. What oil are you using? And let's be honest, it's a genetic thing. You know, my mum didn't get stretch marks, so I'm probably not going to get stretch marks. Yeah. I can lather myself up in oil from here to here, you know, and it's just things like that I think, we don't know. And everybody's body is different and you just got to be true to you. But I think I've been selfish my whole life, thinking about my career. And this is the first time that you can't be selfish. This is like you've got a child and you just have to put all your energy into them and what will happen will happen. But I think I just want to keep my energy levels up by trying to continue to eat well, taking in enough calories to breastfeed and trying to do the best job that I can without losing my mind. You know what?
You're the ultimate juggler. You have all your balls in the air and I've never seen one drop yet. So, I think even if you catch one right before it hits the ground, when this is all said and done, that this little boy is so lucky to have you as his mama. And, you're motivating so many women out there that want to be entrepreneurs. And it was funny. It totally struck me that you're like, I wanted stability, so I became an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And you're like,
and I'm like, really? Because most people are like, that feels scary.
Yeah.
That feels scary.
Yeah.
What do you think has made you the most successful as an entrepreneur? What is, for women out there who want to start something on their own and be their own boss and look up to you, like, what do you think has been the driving success factor in all of this for you?
Yeah. I think the first thing is passion. I say to any woman who's asking me if they want to start a business, unless you're 100% passionate about it, it's something that you love and that drives you, you're probably not going to see it through because, it's so difficult. It's so challenging. Still, 8 years on, there's so many things. You're trying to stay relevant. You're trying to stay present. You're trying to stay authentic, and unless you truly love what you do, I think it's going to be a lot harder to achieve those goals. So definitely passion. It has to be passion driven. But then another one of my things, someone asked me the other day, and I said, don't make a decision on fear, because lots of things can go wrong. And so, and they do, and that's a lesson learned. It's not a failure. It's a lesson learned. But try not to make a decision based on fear. Try and be open and trust. And, I was really brought up to believe in positive affirmations and creative visualizations and see it and dream it and do it and create it. And, unless you truly 100% believe that you can do this, you possibly won't. So you have to be open and trust, and not base a decision on fear and take a risk because listen, nobody knows what they're doing. Yeah. That's another huge lesson I've learned. Everybody's making it up.
Yeah.
We're making up life, all of us.
Yeah.
And so someone just might be a little bit more confident than you. They don't necessarily know, what they're doing. So
right.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you thought of creating Body by Simone, how long was it before you opened your studio doors or started seeing private clients? Like how long after?
I started training out of like someone's private gym, and then I trained one client who then recommended to their friends to another client. So I ended up having like 5 very loyal clients that I saw every day. And then very quickly I realized, well, hang on a minute, I've reached my potential. Like I can't scale any more than this because
I can't so many hours.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I need to find a way to scale this. And so then, I brought on a friend to help me out with the training. And then
Alice?
It was before Alice. So it was like Dee. Her name was Dee. Yeah. She was my best friend, or is still my best friend. And, we kind of, tag teamed. And then I decided to do group classes because another thing is like, how do you make the most of your hourly time, training one person as opposed to maybe having a class full of 30 people.
Right.
But, all of this Body by Simone was created. And then I was in someone's gym. And then I was in an apartment on the Upper West Side, 76 in Columbus in New York, until we got kicked out of there when they realized that
you
we're trying to run a business. Yeah. So it probably would have been like a good year and a half from conception of the name and the idea to actually having a studio.
Okay. So what would you say like idea and conception to having those, like having the gym space?
Mm-hmm. Just so much hard work.
But like how many, like a week, 2 weeks? Because I think this is every single time I talk to entrepreneurs or women with ideas, it's honestly like that first step. That they're just so afraid to take.
Yeah.
And you're like, I have this idea.
Do it.
Yeah. It's like you had this idea to teach people to dance and to make it a workout and to have fun with it because you had been trained in it and you had all these different variations of like you named them, like classical or whatever, you know, all of the techniques and you knew how to do that. And then you just decided you were going to do it and you took on your first client. I think so many times people have these ideas and they're like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Like I'm going to build my website on the back end and I'm going to create all my worksheets and I'm going to create my workflow and the structure of the company, but they're not seeing the client or they're not emailing to freelance or they're not, taking on a client to teach them to work out or whatever it is. And it's like, that is the scariest step.
Yeah.
Is the actual human.
Is the doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so many people talk. That's the other thing too. Like, you'll know over the years, you've had friends over the years and people are like, oh, I've got this idea and I want to do this and I want this career change, and great, do it. Show me.
Yeah.
Then that is the difficult part, I think.
Right.
And that is where the fear comes in. And that is where, people are just afraid to jump off. And I'm just like, if you don't jump off, then you'll never know.
Do you feel like jumping off has gotten harder as you become bigger?
Yes.
I completely agree. Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm.
You had your first studio, and then you decided to open a West Coast studio, and then a London studio, and then you decided to do an app. I'm sure, you talk to anyone and someone will tell you like, opening a retail location is not a good idea because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Starting an app is not a good idea because of X, Y, and Z. A prenatal series, do people use DVDs still?
Yeah.
Like, people are going to come to you with all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. Yeah. And the bigger you get, the more of those voices you have in your head.
Yeah.
But tell me about overcoming like that because you've hundreds of thousands of people following you. You're on your trainer on Revenge Body, multiple seasons. People know who you are. You're training the best of the best in Hollywood. How are you overcoming the fear that's created with growth?
Initially, when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't come from money, didn't have a business degree. It was just like, oh, I love to do this, so I'm just going to make this up. But now, obviously, 8 years later and 4 studios later and all of, the things that I've created, there's so much more pressure on you and expectations from the outside world, but also from yourself, So it's like, well, now I actually know these things. I've learned these along the way. So how do I apply all of this? So it definitely is challenging. I always say, listen to people, right? Always listen to people, but follow your gut instinct because you know what the right decision is. And, majority of the decisions I've made have worked out. There've been a couple that I was like, okay, I've learned from that. I don't believe in failure. I just believe in lessons. But I listen. I've had so many meetings. I've had people that want to invest. There's been so many different meetings. That's the thing that makes me laugh about LA. Everyone's in a meeting. It's like, but are you doing anything? Yeah. What are you actually doing? And a lot of people, want to tell me where they think I should go now or what, advice. And I try and be gracious and I try and listen and take in that information. But at the end of the day, it's something that I've created and it's something that I know and I've worked so hard for. And so I know that my instinct is right. Like I know what authentically feels right. And if it feels organic to me, to make a prenatal series, then it will be successful because it felt authentic and it is authentic. It's
You're
not
pregnant
me just,
and you were trying hard to get pregnant and then you wanted to continue to work out and you needed to be the voice for other women that it was okay.
But everyone's always going to give you their opinion, right?
Right.
And always, what's that saying? Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one and they stink.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So you just gotta listen but then, you know what's right.
Have there been opportunities that have come your way that you've said no to and regret or wish you would have done? And the opposite, like, are there things you wish you still, or things you still want to do? Because I feel like you've touched everything. I mean, you have books, you have DVDs, you have streaming classes, you have apps, you have studios, you have celebrity clientele. Now you have a pregnancy DVD. What's left to do?
Well, my mom,
family.
I know, a baby. Yeah. My mom she always asks me that. She's like, Simi, when will this end or when is enough? And I think the personality that I was born with is that I've always been very ambitious and driven, and said to her, it's never going to be enough, because I'm very passionate about people and life. And so I always want to be creating and hoping that I can give back. Now I think it's a very much a stage of practicing gratitude and having opportunity to give back and help other people and help other young entrepreneurs who are starting off, and you're trying to build my staff up. So that's another thing that, I guess is a huge challenge and you will face if you wanted to scale, is that all of a sudden you have to put your trust in other people, that those staff are a representation of you and your brand, and you have to train them to make sure that they're giving the message that is your core. And that's like so hard. And who wants to work for someone or build up someone else's business that's not their own? So it's a special kind of person that you have to find that wants to work hard and believes in you and is motivated by you as well. So that's a huge, huge challenge. When people ask me about the business, it's one of the biggest things I find is managing the staff.
Yeah,
people, everybody wants, and you got to take care of everybody and making sure that everybody feels appreciated. And so that's challenging, but I know my name is on the door, but now I'm trying to step back a little bit and allow other people to have the limelight, that work for me, and allow them to come into their own and find their place in the company. But that's really challenging.
I think it probably is really rewarding for them too. It's probably the hardest part to take a step back. Obviously, Body by Simone, like you said, it's on the door.
Yeah.
They're expecting Simone to train them. Then, you have some phenomenal trainers in your studios. And I mean, like, I obviously love Alice, and I know Mercy, who runs our podcast, took your class this morning in West Hollywood
and survived. Yes.
So it's, you have those really special people, but I could see how giving them the opportunity to shine even brighter would make them feel more connected to that Body by Simone family. Because even just seeing the girls in your videos and in your streaming stuff, getting a chance to lead in the way that you have is probably really rewarding for them. Yeah, I don't know that there's much left for you to do other than enjoy the life you've built and continue to do what you do.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about? I mean, you can elaborate on this for the changes in your personal life and what's happened.
Yeah.
So why don't you share with everyone all the happiness and love that has come your way in the last couple of years? So
I mean, I was married in a previous life, and then that ended. And so I was like single for 6 years, dating American men, which I guess is my accent, being Australian or English. I just didn't really gel with American men. And so I finally found myself a Brit.
And how did you meet Mark?
It was a very cute story. It's like a movie. People are like, come on, that didn't really happen. But we met at LAX airport. Both of our planes were delayed. So we were in the lounge waiting for our planes. And I was like on my computer, of course, working, but had a nice big glass of red wine next to me. And I heard this very cocky British accent. And I turned around and I thought, oh, hello. And then we started chatting, and exchanged details. And I thought, oh, that was a really pleasant meeting. I'll probably never see him again. But that was just, that guy, there's a spark there or something. And then we kept communicating back and forth. And I was in London and we didn't meet up. And then he was in LA and we didn't meet up. Finally, when we were in LA, he was here for work, and we met and had coffee that turned into lunch, that turned into dinner, that turned into 3.5 years later, and it turned into a baby. So, I think it's another thing about being a woman and being older and trying to balance your career and trying to balance your personal life. And I don't know if people have said this to you, but so many people have said to me, oh, you choose one or the other, or your business was so successful because you were single. And yes, it happened as I was getting divorced. I actually started Body by Simone, and I don't think I would have put in 100% of my energy like I did if I hadn't have ended that relationship. And so that became my love, that became my passion, that became my baby, that became everything. So yes, I believe that helped me really build the business and solely focus on that. And so now I just feel blessed that at 44, I can say, well, yes, I have the business and I have the man and I have the baby, and I'm going to juggle all of it, and very appreciative of all of it. And, it happens when it's supposed to happen. And I think that's the other message I want to tell. A couple of my girlfriends are a lot younger and they're like, I'm 30 and I'm running out of time. And I'm like, I'm 44 and I'm about to have a baby. Like, don't put pressure on yourself. There's, things are changing in life now. Women can do it all and have it all. And, I'm very lucky that Mark, my husband is very supportive and loving and helps me with the business. And, he's going to have paternity leave, which is just unheard of, which is incredible. So we'll be doing it together and making it up together. And he's like, we were laughing the other day. He's like, well, I'll drive you to your house visits and I'll have the baby in the front seat and then we can pump and then you can train and then I'll put you on the boob when you come out and I'll drive you to the next one. And so I don't know. But I think I feel really so blessed that I can, at this point in my life, be able to say that I had the career and have the career and we'll have the family as well. So,
gosh, yeah, I think it's just going to make you better, to be honest.
Yeah.
You get your feet under you. It's a little crazy at first. You're like, what is happening? What time is it? But you're not going to not be yourself because you've always been such a driven, hard-working female entrepreneur, and that's not going to stop. But
who knows? I might wake up and say, Cal, I don't want to work ever again.
No.
That probably lasts 6 months. And then I'm like, no, I need to do something.
Yeah, no, I mean, the itch is there. If you are the way that you are, I mean, like, I remember getting the call. It's January after Bash is born. Like, come to New York, do this TV segment or whatever. Right.
How did you do that? I remember going, what? And then you're on Good Morning America or something.
Well, there's some things you can't say no to. And I think it was actually really good for me because going through what we went through, the hard delivery, and then, I probably wanted to carry him in the ergo until he was 7, I didn't want to, separation anxiety, but ripping that Band-Aid off and holding on to just who you are as an individual is really good. A good thing to do, I think, for any mom, whether it's, finding the time or making the time to continue to take care of themselves, their business, work out, do whatever it is. It makes you feel whole. You come back more excited and ready to, give your all into your family and your child. So, but it really comes down, it takes a village. It really comes down to having a strong partner like you have in Mark. I mean, Chris was the same way. He's like, I got it. Okay. The breast milk's in the freezer. You just take the Uber to the airport. What time will you be back? I remember coming home from New York. He's like, I kept him up 15 minutes longer. He's here. He can hug you. It's like cute stuff like that where you're just trying to make it work, Wow, Simone. Well, I obviously love you. I'm so excited to meet this little angel.
Thank you, me too.
I can't wait to hear your delivery story. I can't wait. I can't just be like, I was doing an ab crunch and he just popped
jumping on the trampoline.
And there was a baby. No, but it's been amazing to become your friend and support your business and be a part of the app. And one day when I get to London, I'm going to take a class there. Yeah. Is there plans for any more studios or do you think that you're done?
I think there's always plan for more studios. I know. But right now we just need to make some money back from this one. It was difficult because we were spending US dollars and then
and their pound
and then their VAT, which 20% on top of everything. So that was like a real ouch kind of moment. Like you budget for things, but then the build out was late and it was over budget and all of those fun things that I was trying not to kill the contractors as I was trying to stay calm, just stay calm. But not right away. I think I'm going to, I've had so many projects going and it's like, I just need them all to sit for a little bit and let them make some money.
Good. I think that's a great idea. Let them make some money. Let this little boy be born and enjoy every minute of him.
Yeah.
Well, tell our listeners where they can find you and if they are pregnant and want to do the prenatal stuff, where they can get that.
So you can find me at Body by Simone on Instagram, Simone De La Rue on Facebook. Any information on my website is www.bodybysimone.com. Callie and I have a fabulous app, which actually is launching 2.0.
It's so exciting.
So ridiculously good.
The nutrition that used to be just give you a couple recipes a day. You can now have favorites. You can, I'm going to start putting together lists of my favorite smoothies. We're getting new content. We're going to do some live streaming.
We'll have to come back and talk about
video
that
stuff.
when
yeah.
it's up,
Once that's
amazing.
up and you've had a little time with
that's right.
The babe. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. We can have both of our boys next to each other. They can play.
There you go. They're like doing tummy time.
Yeah.
We have the cameras like up above the table.
Yeah. God knows what they're doing under there.
Yeah. So, and then the prenatal series.
The prenatal series is, I think people are still buying DVDs, surprisingly or not, but it will end up on the app as well.
Oh, great.
And I think that's it for now. Yeah.
It's enough.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I'm
Thank you for having me.
So glad I get to hug you before this baby comes.
I know. Pray for me, everybody.
Yeah. By the time it's out,
I'll be here. Exactly.
We'll put a picture of you two cute you two and your beautiful son in the show notes.
Yay.
Thank you for listening to Be Well by Kelly. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Learn more at bewellbykelly.com and follow me on Instagram at bewellbykelly. I would love if you picked up my books, Body Love and Body Love Every Day. They're sold on Amazon and at all major booksellers.